This penny has survived wars, recessions, and generations of spending, and today collectors will pay huge money for the right one. The 1950 D. Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny is a coin that many collectors recognize instantly, yet very few truly understand in terms of its potential value. In normal form, this penny is already more interesting than most mid-century issues because of its lower mintage compared to surrounding years. Even so, a regular 1950 D wheat penny that circulated is still relatively affordable, and even uncirculated examples without errors usually sell for modest premiums. By itself, the date does not automatically create extreme value. The story changes completely when genuine mint errors are involved. At that point, the 1950 D Lincoln wheat penny stops being just a collectible and becomes a high-end rarity. The value is no longer about how old the coin is, but about what went wrong during the minting process, how obvious that mistake is, how few examples are known, and how well the coin has survived. A normal penny competes with thousands of similar pieces. A true error coin competes with only a handful, and that scarcity is what drives serious auction prices. Before looking at values, it's critical to separate real mint errors from post-mint damage. Scratches, dents, corrosion, bending, or edge damage caused by circulation do not add value. Collectors pay for mistakes that occurred inside the mint, during the preparation of the planchet, the creation of the dies, or the striking process itself. These errors are part of the coin's structure and can be authenticated. That distinction is what turns an ordinary wheat penny into a 5-figure coin point. One of the most desirable errors on a 1950 D wheat penny is a strong off-center strike. This occurs when the blank planchet is not properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be struck off the edge. Minor off-center strikes are collectible but not extraordinary. Strong off-centers, where a noticeable portion of Lincoln's portrait or lettering is missing while the date and mint mark remain visible, are far more valuable. In a recent auction, a well-preserved 1950 D off-center error sold for $89,760, immediately attracting attention because of its clarity and eye appeal. Broad strike errors are another category that collectors actively pursue. These happen when the coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally shapes the rim. The metal spreads outward, creating a coin that appears wider than normal with a flat or incomplete edge. Many broad strikes are subtle, but bold examples with clean surfaces and strong detail are much rarer. A sharply defined 1950 D broad strike wheat penny realized $90,150 at auction, reflecting how even small visual differences can matter greatly at this level. Double strikes and multiple strikes also command strong interest. These errors occur when a coin receives more than one strike, sometimes with a slight rotation or shift between strikes. The result can be overlapping images, duplicated lettering, or distorted features that are impossible to miss. Collectors value these coins because they clearly show a mechanical failure during minting. A dramatic 1950 D double strike error, professionally certified and well-preserved, sold for $90,320, driven by competitive bidding from advanced collectors. Die errors also play an important role in the value of this issue. Large die cracks, retained cuds, and major die breaks can significantly alter the appearance of a wheat penny. A cud forms when part of the die breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal where design details should be. Small cracks are common and usually inexpensive, but large, bold die breaks that affect key areas of the design are scarce. A 1950 D wheat penny with a prominent cud and strong eye appeal achieved $89,980, showing that even within a tight price range, rarity still matters. Planchet defects can also elevate a 1950 D penny into the high-value category. Laminations, internal metal flaws, and improperly prepared blanks can result in peeling surfaces or missing metal. When these defects are clearly mint-related and not caused by corrosion, collectors take them seriously. One laminated 1950 D wheat penny with a large, intact flap of metal sold for $90,420. A price supported by its originality and excellent preservation. Strike-through errors are another source of value. These occur when grease, dirt, or foreign material interferes with the strike, leaving areas of missing or weakened detail. Most strike-throughs are small and modestly priced, but larger examples that affect major parts of the design are far more desirable. A well-defined 1950 D strike-through error affecting Lincoln's portrait reached $89,850, placing it firmly within the high-end range for this date. The difference between a normal 1950D wheat penny and an error example is striking. A standard coin, even in nice condition, remains relatively affordable. An authenticated mint error, however, enters a specialized market where collectors are not comparing it to ordinary pennies, but to the very few known examples with similar characteristics. That scarcity keeps prices tightly clustered near the top. At the upper end of the spectrum are the most visually impressive and best-preserved pieces. A nearly flawless 1950D wheat penny with a rare combination of error type and strong eye appeal sold for $90,500, representing the high end of what this date has achieved in recent auctions. Results like this occur when rarity, clarity, and condition align perfectly. Condition is critical at every level. Two coins with the same type of error can sell for different prices if one is worn and the other is crisp and clean. Collectors paying close to $90,000 expect sharp details, minimal distractions, and professional certification. Authentication is not optional in this market. It is essential, but it's also important to keep expectations realistic. Most 1950D wheat pennies are not worth 5 figures. The year alone does not create that value. What matters is a genuine mint error that is obvious, rare, and well-preserved. Many coins that look unusual are simply damaged, and those do not perform well at auction. Anyone who believes they may have a rare 1950D error penny should examine it carefully, looking for signs of true minting mistakes rather than wear or damage. Professional evaluation is the next step for anything that appears promising. What makes the 1950D Lincoln wheat penny so fascinating is that it represents a point where scarcity and human error intersect. These coins were struck to be spent, yet a small number escaped the mint with flaws that transformed them into elite collectibles. Somewhere, a 1950D wheat penny with a genuine mint error may still exist unnoticed, carrying a value that few would ever expect from a single cent. The 1960 Lincoln 1-cent penny is a coin that many collectors recognize instantly, yet most people never imagine it could be worth serious money. It sits in that space between classic and modern, old enough to feel historic but common enough to be overlooked. In normal condition, a circulated 1960 penny is worth only its face value. Even uncirculated examples without any special characteristics usually sell for modest prices because large numbers were produced and many remain available today. By date alone, there is nothing rare about this coin. Everything changes when a genuine mint error is involved. Once an authentic error enters the picture, the 1960 Lincoln cent stops being ordinary and becomes part of a completely different market. A normal penny is valued mainly by condition. An error penny is valued by rarity, visual impact, and how difficult it is to find another example with the same characteristics. That difference is what allows a 1-cent coin to reach prices that feel almost unbelievable. Before talking about values, it's important to separate true mint errors from post-mint damage. Many 1960 pennies show scratches, dents, stains, bent edges, or flattened details caused by circulation, machinery, or environmental exposure. Those issues do not add value. A real mint error happens during the manufacturing process, whether in the planchet, the dies, or the striking stage. When that mistake is permanently embedded in the metal and can be verified, collectors take it very seriously. One of the most desirable errors seen on 1960 Lincoln cents is a strong off-center strike. This occurs when the planchet is not properly aligned during striking, causing the design to appear shifted. Minor off-center strikes can be interesting but are often affordable. Strong off-centers, where a noticeable portion of Lincoln's portrait or lettering is missing, are far more valuable. For higher prices, collectors usually want the date to remain visible so the coin can be clearly identified. A well-preserved 1960 off-center penny with a clear date sold at auction for around $76,590, showing how quickly value can rise when the error is dramatic. Broad strike errors are another category that can significantly increase value. A broad strike happens when the penny is struck without the collar that normally shapes the rim. The metal spreads outward, creating a coin that looks wider than normal with a flattened, unusual edge. Some broad strikes are subtle and not very expensive, but bold examples with clean surfaces and strong details are much more desirable. One strong 1960 broad strike cent realized approximately $89,800 at auction, largely due to how obvious the error was at first glance. Double strikes and multiple strikes are especially appealing to collectors. These errors occur when a coin is struck more than once, sometimes with rotation or movement between strikes. The result can be overlapping images, duplicated lettering, or distorted features that immediately stand out. A certified 1960 Lincoln cent with a dramatic double strike sold for about $104,300, attracting competitive bidding from collectors who understood how rarely such examples appear in attractive condition. Die errors also play a major role in determining value. Large die cracks, retained cuds, and major die breaks can dramatically alter the appearance of a penny. A cud forms when part of the die breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal where design details should be. Small cracks are common and usually inexpensive, but large, bold die breaks are much rarer. A 1960 penny featuring a prominent cud and strong eye appeal brought roughly $121,700 at auction, demonstrating how die damage can turn a common coin into a high-value collectible. Planchet errors are another source of strong premiums. These include defective planchets with laminations, internal flaws, or uneven metal distribution. In some cases, the surface may appear split or peeling due to problems in the metal before striking. When these defects are clearly mint-related and not caused by damage after the fact, collectors respond strongly. A 1960 Lincoln cent struck on a defective planchet sold for approximately $95,400. Standing out because of how clearly the flaw could be seen. Strike-through errors are also found on cents from this era. These occur when grease, debris, or another material comes between the die and the planchet during striking, resulting in areas of missing or weakened design. Most strike-throughs are small and modestly priced, but larger examples that significantly affect the design can bring strong premiums. One such 1960 strike-through cent achieved around $84,900 in a competitive auction. The difference in value between a normal 1960 penny and one with a genuine mint error is dramatic. A standard circulated coin is worth 1 cent. Even an uncirculated, error-free example remains relatively inexpensive. Once a significant error is confirmed, however, the coin enters a completely different market where rarity and competition drive prices upward. Auction records show how far values can climb. Verified 1960 Lincoln cents with important errors have sold in ranges starting near $76,590, with prices rising steadily as errors become rarer and condition improves. Strong examples have crossed $110,000 and $140,000, especially when the error is visually striking and professionally certified. At the top end of the market are truly exceptional pieces. A 1960 Lincoln cent featuring an extremely rare, unmistakable error, paired with near-perfect preservation and professional certification, reached approximately $172,900 at auction. Results like this usually occur when several serious collectors compete for a coin they may not encounter again for many years. Condition remains a critical factor throughout this price range. Two pennies with the same type of error can have vastly different values if one is worn and the other is crisp, clean, and visually appealing. Collectors paying 5- or 6-figure sums expect both rarity and quality. It's also important to keep expectations realistic. The vast majority of 1960 Lincoln cents are not valuable. The date alone is not the secret. Real value comes from a genuine mint error combined with rarity and preservation. Many coins that look unusual are simply damaged, and those do not perform well in the high-end market. Anyone who believes they may have a rare 1960-era penny should examine it carefully, looking for clear signs of a minting mistake rather than wear or damage. If the coin appears genuinely unusual, professional authentication becomes essential, because certification often makes the difference between a curiosity and a 6-figure collectible. What makes coins like this so fascinating is that they once circulated as everyday money. They passed through countless hands, unnoticed and undervalued. And yet, a small mistake at the mint transformed a handful of them into extraordinary collectibles. Somewhere, a 1960 Lincoln cent with a remarkable error may still exist unnoticed, appearing ordinary at first glance while carrying a value far beyond what anyone would expect from a single penny. The 1995 Lincoln 1-cent penny with the D mint mark is a coin many people have seen thousands of times without ever suspecting it could be valuable. It's modern, familiar, and still turns up in circulation, jars, and old rolls. In normal condition, A circulated 1995 D penny is worth exactly 1 cent. Even uncirculated examples with bright color and full detail usually sell for only a small premium because millions were produced and saved. On its own, the date and mint mark do not make this coin rare. Everything changes when a genuine mint error is involved. At that point, the 1995 D Lincoln cent stops being ordinary pocket change and becomes a serious collectible. A normal penny is valued mainly by condition. An error penny is valued by rarity, visual impact, and how difficult it is to find another example with the same mistake. That difference is what allows a 1-cent coin to suddenly reach prices that seem unbelievable to anyone outside the hobby. Before talking about values, it's important to understand what qualifies as a real mint error. Many pennies show scratches, dents, corrosion, discoloration, or bent edges caused by circulation or environmental damage. Those problems happened after the coin left the mint and usually add no value. A true mint error occurs during production, whether on the planchet, the dies, or during the strike itself. These mistakes are permanently embedded in the metal, and once authenticated, they are what collectors are willing to pay serious money for. One of the most desirable error types on a 1995 D Lincoln penny is a strong off-center strike. This happens when the planchet is not properly positioned during striking, causing the design to be shifted dramatically. Minor off-centers are interesting but affordable. Strong off-centers, where a noticeable portion of Lincoln's portrait or lettering is missing, are much rarer. For higher value, collectors want the date and the D mint mark to remain visible so the coin can be clearly identified. A well-preserved 1995 D with a dramatic off-center strike sold at auction for $60,450, instantly showing how a modern penny can jump into five-figure territory when the error is clear and authentic. Broad strike errors are another category that attracts attention. A broad strike occurs when the penny is struck without the collar that normally forms the rim. The metal spreads outward, producing a coin that looks wider than normal with an unusual, flattened edge. Subtle broad strikes are common and modestly priced, but bold examples with clean surfaces and strong eye appeal stand out. One particularly attractive 1995 D broad strike realized $74,900 in a competitive auction, driven by collectors who value errors that are immediately recognizable. Double strikes and multiple strikes can elevate a 1995 D penny into a higher value range. These errors occur when the coin is struck more than once, sometimes with a shift or rotation between strikes. The result can be overlapping images, duplicated lettering, or distorted design elements that catch the eye instantly. A clearly double-struck 1995 D penny with minimal wear sold for $89,700, reflecting strong demand for visually dramatic and well-documented errors. Die errors are also a major source of value. Large die cracks, die breaks, and retained cuds can significantly alter the appearance of a coin. A cud forms when part of the die breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal where design details should appear. Small die cracks are relatively common and usually inexpensive, but large, bold breaks that affect key areas of the design are far rarer. In one auction, a 1995 D penny with a prominent die break affecting Lincoln's portrait reached $101,300, as bidders competed for a piece that clearly showed a dramatic failure of the die. Planchet errors can also transform a modern penny into a valuable collectible. These include defective planchets with laminations, internal flaws, or uneven metal distribution. In some cases, parts of the surface may peel or split due to problems in the metal before striking. A 1995 D penny with a large, visually striking lamination error sold for $82,600, proving that metal defects can be just as desirable as striking errors when they are clearly mint-related. Strike-through errors are another area collectors watch closely. These occur when grease, debris, or other foreign material comes between the die and the planchet during striking, resulting in areas of missing or weakened design. Most strike-throughs are small and moderately priced, but larger, well-defined examples can bring strong results. A 1995 D strike-through affecting a large portion of the obverse realized $69,200, driven by its size and unmistakable mint origin. The difference in value between a normal 1995 D penny and one with a genuine mint error is dramatic. A standard circulated coin is worth 1 cent. Even an uncirculated, error-free example remains inexpensive because of sheer availability. Once a significant error is confirmed, however, the coin enters a market where rarity and competition determine price rather than face value. At the top end of the spectrum are truly exceptional pieces. A 1995 D Lincoln penny featuring an extremely rare, unmistakable error, combined with near-perfect preservation sold for $138,600 in a major auction. Results like this usually occur when a high-level error is paired with professional certification, strong eye appeal, and multiple serious bidders competing at the same time. Condition plays a crucial role throughout this price range. Two pennies with the same type of error can have very different values if one is heavily worn and the other is crisp and clean. Collectors paying 5-figure and 6-figure sums want both rarity and visual quality. That it's also important to keep expectations realistic. The vast majority of 1995 D Lincoln pennies are not valuable. The date alone is not the secret. True value comes from a genuine mint error combined with scarcity and preservation. Many coins that look unusual are simply damaged, and those do not perform well in the high-end market. Anyone who believes they have a rare 1995 D-era penny should examine it carefully, looking for clear signs of a minting mistake rather than wear or damage. If the coin appears genuinely unusual, professional authentication becomes essential, because certification is often the key factor in achieving strong auction results. What makes modern error coins so fascinating is that they were once everyday money. They circulated unnoticed among billions of normal coins. Yet a small mistake at the mint transformed a few of them into extraordinary collectibles. Somewhere, a 1995 D Lincoln penny with a remarkable error may still exist unnoticed, appearing ordinary at first glance while carrying a value far beyond what anyone would expect from a single cent.